chauvinistic, you know. But I'm going to share that, so I actually do support what he's saying. Not in its entirety and not particularly the way that he said it, you know, but I do support what he is saying because, and not for the reasons that you're thinking, but the first reason is that I think it really frees us up as women to keep from owning men's mistakes. What he is saying in a nutshell, what I, you know, again, because this is free thinking. This is free thinking. This is why I like to stimulate these conversations. Yeah, man, like everything that people do, not even just men, but particularly men in romantic relationships, but people do is because of you and something that you did. A lot of these societal structures that we have in relationships tends to make women look unworthy or like she must have done something wrong or is not up to par because she got cheated on. Halle Berry got cheated on. Beyonce got cheated on. You know, tons of beautiful women, and I'm not excusing behavior. Let's make that very clear. I'm not excusing behavior, but I am saying that I think we need to get out of this inner dialogue that because this happened, which is common, that there is some way that we have to take ownership of his behavior. What he is saying is if you're in a relationship and you really love this person, patience, you know, is what we're going to have or require to kind of push through the shame, the pain of dealing with something like being cheated on. Again, yeah, I just think that it really does free women up. If we can think about it outside of the context that, again, and just not take ownership that him doing that has something to do with you as a person. It's his decision. Yeah, he might have made the wrong one, you know, but it's his decision ultimately, and he has to, like he was saying, learn from his mistakes. The other thing is that let's just be real that women cheat all the time too. And, you know, again, we're just better at it. We're better at hiding it, better at, you know, I follow a guy named Terry Duran. He always has really interesting perspective, you know, from the male point of view. And most of the time when women cheat, the men they cheat with don't want to be in a relationship with them like that. So we just don't have the same, again, societal constructs. We don't have the same consequences per se. But women do cheat. And they cheat often. You know, when I was doing makeup again, women would sit in my chair and tell me all kinds of stuff. And you can do absolutely everything right. I mean, you can, you know, not have sex before marriage. You can go to the counseling. You can do every single thing. I mean, be pleasing your man the whole nine. The risk is still there. And I think that that is just a risk in relationship, period, between men and women. And again, it shouldn't just be this pressure or feeling on women that we have to take ownership that we did something wrong or we have less value because this happened to us. It happens all the time. It's common. And hopefully conversations like this one help free us up to start having some type of dialogue about it so that everybody doesn't feel like it's such a shameful thing. You know, I was talking last week about this book I've been reading. I'm not going to get into it because I've been talking about it, but it really has brought a lot of insight on just shame that we feel, especially as women, with all the societal pressure, which brings me into my next point. Just too much pressure on us to be perfect. I mean, And, from the way that we look, whether we gain weight, whether, after children, there's so many different pressures that we have as women physically that, again, I don't think we can even take the weight of taking ownership of a man's decisions anymore. We tired. We just tired. And, I've made this statement before that, I'm not a huge fan of Sierra and Russell. And I will go into this. I don't know them as people at all. And I don't know anything about their relationship. I think that, what we all need and want in relationship is really due to our own circumstances, how we've grown up, what we've dealt with. It's a very individual thing. And so the choices that we make are going to be individual. Our needs are individual. So I don't know them. I don't know them at all. But I think what really irritates me is that, this whole concept that, she prayed this prayer, for the perfect guy, and now they just have this perfect relationship, and it perpetuates this stereotype of perfection in relationships. I mean, that's what we saw with J and B for so long. And that's why it was so devastating when we found out that they were imperfect people. We all are. We all are. And we all have imperfections within our relationships. And that is not just the romantic relationships, because 9 times out of 10, we're perpetuating things that are much deeper, that come from childhood. And it takes a lot of work, i.e. the patience that he was talking about. And again, I don't think that's just patience with a man and just patience in terms of cheating, which is why he also brought up, hey, he didn't leave you when you were disloyal, telling your family about all of our business. There are ways that we all can feel violated, and just, again, we're not perfect. We're all learning. We're all taking this opportunity to learn through the partnerships that we're in. And anybody who is not speaking up on that is just kind of lying. It's not realistic. And I think that that's what really develops the shame. When we have this perfect idea of, what type of relationship we want to be in. And it's not achievable. It's just not going to be achievable without work. And consistent work. And consistent look at self. So yeah, I ain't really feeling them because I don't find their relationship particularly authentic. I want to hear about the mornings he getting on your damn nerves. I want to hear about the things that have been disappointing. I want to hear about the real deal stuff. And I'm going to circle back to that as I continue. So, but as I was saying too, we have to really, to heal and to really start distancing ourselves, social distancing, from these societal stereotypes and expectations that are really just too much pressure on all of us, especially on the Black family structure. And I'm going to go there because we are undoing years and years of trauma. Sips tea. And I think that is something that we really have to be considerate of. Again, it's not making excuses, but it is starting to take ownership and accountability for the fact that there's a lot of things that we don't know or haven't learned or are healing from in our families. We are not far removed. We're not that far removed. And especially with this whole thing with Black men cheating, I see a question here. Part 1, why is cheating either looked down on or is accepted if it ends well? Hold on, let me make sure I'm understanding. You might have to clarify it for me. Why is cheating either looked down on or is accepted if it ends well? again, I think it just has a lot to do with shame, and the fact that, again, if we have a partner or someone who has made a decision on their own, which is what they did, society looks down on the person who got cheated on. It's just automatic. Well, it must have been something wrong with them. It must have. And then there's just shame that comes with that. So, but if it ends well and the people are able to, again, have the, what I call resolution skills to move forward in some type of way, then, I mean, you just busted up the society expectation, did you not? I mean, you're going to be rewarded for that. So, nobody wants to lose. I mean, that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Nobody wants to be the loser. And that's not just a relationship thing. That's across the board. Which will bring me to my next topic of men and women don't have the same value system. And I think that is another thing that we just underestimate all the time. That, men see themselves valuable the way that women see themselves, see them, and vice versa. And you can debate me on this, question me on this, whatever you like, but from my observations and my living experience, truth, women, we hold our value in our beauty most of the time, and that is, again, what this book is talking about, where it's about how young we are, how vibrant we are, and voluptuous we are, and, thin we are. The older we get, we depreciate, I already talked about last week how, again, you have all these societal expectations on you just as a woman, and then to be black on top of that and be poor, it's going to be a whole nother set of weights that you're just walking around with on you all the time. Good morning, love. And it sucks. So, I think that, again, whenever we get cheated on, the first thing that we start to feel is that we're not attractive. We weren't attractive enough. And that's just not true. Again, I started with saying Halle Berry, J-Lo, I mean, you name it. I don't think there's a woman out here who has not had that experience and understands what it feels like. In my own experience, I was just grateful that I was told at one point that it has nothing to do with you. At least that male was self-aware enough to say to me, it has nothing to do with you. And I think for me, it freed me up to know, just, okay, over again. That's another thing. I also think that if we don't learn to start dealing with the pain within these situations, what we do is we just keep choosing the same person over and over and over again. Marrying that person or dealing with that person in other ways. And there's always lessons that are there. It's not always, again, about cheating. It could be, like I said, because we don't have the same value system. I also don't think that we as women tend to get very educated on ways that men can feel violated that don't have anything to do with us stepping out on them. So I'm not just defending black men. I'm defending the healing of the black family and black men and women. Period. Because these are things, again, that we don't get to discuss. We just choose somebody else. We just try to get the validation in someone else. And it'll be there. This is going to be short-lived, and we'll be repeating our mistakes all the time. So, anywho, I think that men hold their value in economics, and a lot of times that does attribute to why they do step out in some type of way. Either they're not feeling like they're bringing enough in, or maybe they just didn't have much growing up, and now you've got all this money and attention, and don't really know how to balance that. There's layers to it. So ultimately, I've always said, men and women want to matter. It's just what makes us feel like we matter is a little different when it comes to our value system. Women, we want to feel attractive. Unless, okay, I keep it 100 with y'all, do I not? Okay. I think that, again, when we are people, good morning, welcome. When we are people who are considered societally attractive, whether you're male or female, if you're a female who just attracts a lot of men, for one reason or another, it's going to be more challenging to reject the attention at a certain point. Like, sorry, I heard somebody in there moving. And vice versa. If a man has a lot of money, the options in the pool, let's just say the pool, gets wider, it gets bigger. That's part of what that guy, Terry Duran, talks about a lot on his page, is that if you're a man who is attractive, you have your stuff together, you don't have to settle down as quickly. You don't have to choose one woman. Most of the time, that's a man who remains single and really wants to date because he has success with women. Vice versa. If a woman has success with men, she may not be as apt to settle down and want to be chose, as quickly because she's being chose all the time. So again, I think just as we mature and start to really develop self-worth, self-understanding, you start to see that, again, it's not just about being attractive or how many people you attract. It's about genuine connection. I talk about connection all the time. That is something that is truly, truly rare. So, and I think, again, that is something that men underestimate very, very often because, of course, they want to be attractive too. And if women are attracted to them, they might think it's because he looks like he's rich. I might just be attracted to you because you're cute. They tend to underestimate that women, I would say the emotional manipulation of women all the time. So just how they feel valued, we want to matter, to each other. Good morning. But the way that we feel like we matter is just different when it comes to just gender roles in general. I also think that men want to feel strong. They want to feel because of that protecting and providing, so that's why you see a lot, they start to work out, get buff. But again, what we all need in each other is going to be different just based on, our childhoods and things that we valued growing up. So again, if let's say that you grew up in a poor, I shouldn't say poor, but finances were a big issue. Well, that's something that you're going to value a lot more, in a partner or someone that you're dating moving forward. And and if they have a lot of those things that you value, you're going to be willing to deal with a lot more of their learning curve. Let's just say that. So ultimately, I think, and from what I'm talking about and trying to put a positive spin on it, I think that it is truly a privilege to be able to choose who you want. And I think that is something that we can do in this next generation and just moving forward and in our healing process in general. That's where our privilege can come from in the Black family structure, is that we are privileged to choose who the hell we want, not just who we have to. A lot of, this might sound really bad, but again, this is free thinking. I think that white women are taught very early on how to marry, how to choose someone, how to build this lifestyle. It's not always based on love. I think that, again, romance is very, TV, film, fantasy. Ideally, they choose partners that they can procreate with, that they can build lives with, and wealth, and keep it within. And that's just what their structure looks like. And a lot of times, just in my opinion of American marriage, I think that's something that we tend to really compare ourselves to all the time. That's something that we're trying to achieve. And that shit don't work. It don't work for them, and it's not necessarily working for us. So we have privilege that we can choose who we want, who we actually have connection with. And passion is something that's just natural for Black people. Whether they are the perfect example of who you want or somebody that you have to really work with to get there. You know, everything doesn't have to be looked at as this person is the complete representation of who I am. They are themselves and you are yourself. And yeah, you know, choose who you want. And even if you haven't, you know, do all you can to build yourself up and become who you want. I'm huge on that. Become who you want. And that's who you attract, or either, you know, support your partner in becoming as well. So I'm going to share some wild thoughts. I'm going to actually have two today. And the wild thought is, doing what you think everybody else is doing is kind of stupid once you realize that every man was out for themselves. And I say it that way because, you know, a lot of this conversation is based on, you know, Keon's perspective. And ideally, again, men tend to be able as well to make more mistakes, to learn through mistakes. A lot of times we as women just tend to feel all this pressure to be perfect, and like, if I'm perfect, then I look perfect, and I do perfect, and I sex perfect, and I cook perfect, and I have perfect kids, and all this stuff, then nothing's going to happen to me, and I'm not going to feel vulnerable. It's just not the case. God's always going to give us something to learn from and someone to learn through, and that is just life. And you know what happens? Men cheat and then they move on and they find somebody else who can weather the storms, you know? So, or they don't have to settle down at all. But women, we should be able to make mistakes too, even if that's choosing the wrong damn one. Anyway. And then too often, this is the other wild thought, too often our relationships become a public platform for emotional masturbation. Getting yourself off on how much someone invests in you, is attracted to you, or is attached to you. When true intimacy amplifies your relationship with self. Healthy relationship is having a partner who reflects the investment, attraction, and can thrive alone, but even better with you. Okay? Meaning they reflect what you do for yourself, how much you invest in yourself, how much you are even attracted to yourself, or what you do to become attractive. And they can just thrive, you know, and exist on your own. It's just so much better. I think, again, that's why, you know, the question that was asked earlier, good morning, about, like, why is it better? Hold on, let me read the question again. Why is cheating either looked down on or it's accepted if it ends well? That's why we can see a J and a B come back together after something like that, because they do have their own as individuals. She is not made by him. He is not made by her. I think it's so much easier to weather these storms and to stand on a solid foundation when both people are self-aware and just have done the work and are doing the work. And it doesn't have to look like Jay-Z and Beyonce. I mean, it has to look like, again, your value system, where it comes from for you, you know, and be strong enough, again, to stand on that, whether anybody approves of it or not. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking this morning. Those those are the wild thoughts, guys. And of course, my DMs are always open. If you want to continue talking about this, I do have the House Party app, and I'm still working on getting us all on the conversation afterwards. If anybody chooses or wants to continue the discussion, yeah, I hope that I was able to stimulate some wild thoughts in you guys this morning. Check out the self-care store. Link is in my bio. Chakra spray, love spray, body scrubs, body butters, all of that. I'm wishing you all an absolutely amazing Tuesday. Don't think too much, but definitely, free thinking, guys. We're old enough, we're here to just have thoughts that are original and are our own. If this time has shown us anything, it is that, we are having a collective experience as individuals. Your life needs to look the way you want it to. So, choose somebody with your privilege that you want. Okay? Enjoy your Tuesday, guys. I'll see you next